Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 39 of the Realm Recap. I'm Jason from Yakface.com, joined again by Flyguy from Flyguy.net.
That's me. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. It's been
Yep.
another busy week for both of us, I think, as usual.
Busy week, mixed with, I live here in the upper Midwest, Minnesota specifically, and we got the winter snowstorm already, and it's not even, Thanksgiving yet, and I'm
Ouch.
annoyed. I'll just say that.
On the
But
plus side, it would look great to put your, wampas and get up some Hothcene dioramas, but
yeah, I suppose I could drag those out, but oh.
there you go. Never mind. On
Anyway,
we go. So,
um, starting off this week, gonna review, recap a lot of things that have happened. Hasbro stuff. Starting off with finally that Star Wars Rebels figures have started to hit stores, which includes the Chopper, Kanan, Ezra, Stormtroopers, all that good stuff. Those have shown up now at Target and Toys R Us and Walmart. So
yep. So it's
I think people were worried for a while that the figures were not getting out there. There were like at Walmart, let's say there were dedicated end caps and whatnot for just Star Wars Rebels merchandise, and there was just nothing out there. I was at a Walmart this afternoon, and they didn't have any Star Wars Rebels merchandise. They still had all the end cap headers and
sure.
signage and everything, but it was full front and back of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Okay.
So,
It's been
they're not
that
gonna,
long. Empty
yeah,
shit.
they're not going to let that shelf space go to waste. They're going to fill it with whatever they can. So
I think one company that's been doing fantastically out of all this is Jack Specific, who must be just rubbing their hands like all this time because they're the only ones who've had really any product on the shelves. Lego has been there, but it's kind of thinned out a little.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Jack Specific gigantic shampoo bottles
Right.
have just been dominating everywhere I go, particularly the Inquisitor and the Stormtrooper this week. So yeah, wherever there's a space for Rebels, they've been plugged in. So sadly not selling though, but
Yeah.
that's another thing. But
And also, aside from the Star Wars Rebel stuff, is that the Black Series, this Wave 6, has started to hit retail as well, which includes the R5G19, the Hoth Luke, Malgus,
yep.
Starkiller. I think there's one other one in there somewhere. But yeah, those have finally started showing up at retail. So I've seen various in-person figures from those waves showing up. So
Sure.
and it's going from coast to coast. So I think people are finally starting to see a little bit of reprieve from
Sure.
not having anything in stores.
I know. Well, I mean, this is the thing as well. I said this to someone this week that I met and was talking about them, and he said, "I've seen this figure out. Why isn't it in my stores?" I said, "Well, it's going to take time. Some stores won't get it. Some stores don't order it. It's just, yeah, it's the beginning of the tip of the iceberg. It'll eventually get out to all these stores and places and online stores, but it does take time. It's not an instant thing, that's for sure."
Right, and I think my experience has been, like, let's say with Toys R Us, they've been getting full cases of this assortment in, whereas Target, I think they're still doing that
Wendy
splitting up
twos.
of cases and distributing figures from individual cases to different stores.
Yep.
Because like one evening I'll go to a Target locally here, just half a mile away, and they won't have anything at night, but then in the morning I might go back and they might have 2 or 3 brand new figures from a case that they could easily fit an entire case out if they wanted
Sure.
to, if they could put it out. But I just think they're, again, like we've reported before, they're splitting up those cases and kind of spreading them around to help fill space. So I have run into a couple stores that have had a mix of Rebels and new Black Series, TIE Fighter pilot carded figures out. So
Yep. They're definitely coming. I'm
Have
talking.
you seen anything at your
Uh,
local stores, or
oh,
have you been out?
Look, I always look by some local stores, and I have to say, I think I've said this before. I'm really, I'm considering I'm someone who reviews toys and is interested in these. I kind of, as long as I've ordered them, and of course I've ordered them online, I'm not really fussed. I'll get to them. They'll come soon enough, and I think this clamour that everybody gets in about it to be first, it can be a little bit complicated for a lot of people because then everybody expects them to be everywhere, and they're not going to be everywhere. They're going to take time to delineate across things,
Right.
um, and that also means, again, I mean, in this case, it's flipped around. The UK guys have got this first, so nice to see some other people have got these before the US. But they're coming, they're all coming out. That's the way I feel about it. So, but no, I haven't seen a single thing in stores at all. Just Jack specific. That's the only thing that's been there. So,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to go in, because some of the online retailers have been shipping out stuff, starting a couple weeks ago. It's
hmm
kind of interesting to gauge how long it takes. Like I'm right in the middle of in the U.S., so it's kind of interesting to gauge how long it takes for, let's
sure.
say, pre-orders to fill from shipping from California versus seeing them in stores here in the Midwest. And it was essentially about a week and a half time there. So
Mm.
and so, you know, like you said, some of my stuff was on pre-order, so I don't need to go to stores to hunt things down necessarily, but I like to use, the
Always a
typical
reference,
toy
absolutely.
run as a gauge to find out,
If they're out and
how
about.
this stuff is shipping out to, Joe Blow collector that doesn't pre-order online or
Sure.
so.
No, I've been all over for the last week, 2 weeks, in fact, been pretty much traveling all over the Midwest and sorry, the Mideast, and I have not seen a single thing.
Mm,
So yeah, still very sparse and few in between as far as I can see. And again, even if it does arrive, a lot of people may snap them up. So what little
right.
is maybe available by now. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
'cause
report.
especially with like the new uh, Star Wars Rebels figures, if people are really into those are only packed one per case. So
Yeah,
if those get stocked, they're going to buy them all up at one time. And,
correct.
if you go in before or after that, you wouldn't necessarily know that those figures
Yep.
were even present. I think Adam Paulus has posted something similar to that before in his Q&As. Like, you have to be diligent about going to your stores if you're looking for new product,
Sure.
because if there are other collectors in your area,
They're going to snap
you
them
could
up.
miss it in a matter of minutes. So
I did see Rebels figures this weekend, pretty much all of them at Tulsa Comic Con,
mm,
but insane prices. Some of them around $30.
mm,
So this is what I'm like, from my personal point of view, it's calm down. They will come. Just
yeah,
a lot of people are just going crazy for these things, but they're coming. They are coming. But even Paul's post that he made a while back about maybe potentially being delayed until January 2015. I mean, it's not going to be unheard to be seeing these for the first time in January because we are only how many weeks away from Christmas? 6 weeks
right,
away? Is that right? 6 weeks till Christmas? That's crazy. So yeah, it's potentially going to be the case that
right. And I
the
think
first time you see them in
I think that
January.
was for a specific retailer too.
True.
Depending on where you kind of get in line for your, you know, ordering and whatnot, that
Correct.
might push you out to be able to fill your pre-orders and whatnot. So
And you've got to consider this as a show that's going to run for an entire, well, 2 seasons now, we know as well. So there'll be, these things are going to get drip fed as well. They can't make and satisfy all demand in one big hit.
right,
So there's going to be multiple deliveries in multiple times. So I don't think anyone's going to have a problem getting them, regardless what they're buying. So just give it
right.
time.
So speaking of that, as far as Rebels figures, Hasbro released new images, carded images for Wave 5 of the Rebels Saga Legends assortment, and that includes, trying to think here,
The
that includes,
ETDP.
yeah, the ATDP driver slash pilot, whatever you want to call him, the uh, Commander Gree, the TIE pilot, Plo Koon,
Terrible
the
figure.
I think the yeah, it looks yeah. I'm not sure we need another Plo Koon.
No idea.
Um, the very cool Jedi
Temple Guard, isn't
Guard,
it? Yep.
GI Temple Guard. That is a great looking figure.
It is. AT-AT driver, the couple of Wookiees, Sabine Stormtrooper,
Yep.
and Vizago. I keep remembering the name wrong.
Yeah, I always call him cilantro, cilantro Vizago, but it's not cilantro. Yeah,
Wicket and Biker Scout and Boskin IG-88. So
yeah.
it's a
So
lot of
yeah, it's a
figures.
mix of Saga Legends and the Mission Series packs, and those all look great to me. Other than maybe the Plo Koon in there.
Mm.
Just we got a lot of Plo Koons over the past 5 years or so. It's
Yeah.
from the Revenge of the Sith line, the Clone Wars line. It just seemed we got overloaded with Plo Koons. That probably had a lot to do with Dave Filoni and his affinity for the character, but
Or maybe, well, I don't know, something else may happen. But yes, I agree. It's and this was an unusual one. This was a case where Hasbro made the images available to us carded.
right.
What? First they see the guy give us carded images, and then they upload a whole set of them. So, well, thank you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a strange one. So, but
Yeah,
nice to get the
I
Hasbro's
think
image.
pretty much all of these are going to be really popular.
Yep, they're all good characters, all solid builds, and there's a nice variety of kind of old and new.
Yeah, Army
Um,
builders. There's a lot of
yeah,
troopers in there.
perfect.
TIE pilots and the ADP, ATDP drivers and the AT or the AT-AT driver. So, man, I know that Jedi Temple Guard is going to sell like crazy. I know you've at Dorkside Toys. That's been one of the first figures that sold out right away. So,
So yeah, he's incredibly popular. A lot of people building that guy to death. So yeah, cool.
let's see what else. Let's see. Kind of a store report this week. On Friday and Saturday, Toys R Us had a super sale, which was like a buy one get one 40% off sale, which comes around every month or so. I think at Toys R Us they're pretty consistent about having that. I didn't see a lot at my local stores. I think it kind of kicked off right before a lot of the new product was heading out. I think oftentimes they use that sale to clear out stuff in order to get new stuff on shelf.
Yeah, sure, makes sense.
But I know our friends at the Star Wars Collector.com website, Dan over there, he was able to score a ton of product from his local store. I think he resides in Texas.
That's right.
So he was able to get, Rebels figures, new Mission Series, Black Series figures. So we posted a link there in our show notes. We'll be able to share that on his haul that he picked up there. So
The only problem I found was in the stores when I went to when this was on, there was nothing there.
yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of pointless in some ways, but if you're lucky enough like Dan, so
yeah, mine
you,
didn't either.
yeah. So and you'd already bought the Jedi reveal pack, etc. So
Right.
which they're using in that advertisement. So yeah, not a bad offer, but again, if the product isn't there, it's kind of like not too hot, but still good.
Yep. Let's see. The special value vehicle packs, I think those were exclusive originally to Toys R Us. I think it's going back a couple of years now. Those were kind of hitting out on the East Coast as part of, I can't remember what that was, it like an Ollie's store or something like that? Was that what it was called?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So
Um,
this is at Marshalls.
Yep, they're starting to show up at like Marshalls and TJ Maxx here now. Uh, because of where I live, that kind of hits home because TJ Maxx and Marshalls is in my area. So those are starting to show up again.
That must mean there was a lot of product.
A lot of vehicles, yeah.
A lot of vehicles, but sorry,
And
we
there's
have
a ton of great vehicles in those value packs too. A lot of Jedi Starfighters, some original trilogy vehicles, Clone Wars stuff. So
that's a pretty good deal.
For $20, I think is what they're going for. Like around the $25, depending on the store.
Yep.
It's great for two vehicles, considering you'd get one for that price.
Oh hell yeah. We had a link there actually that I never shared in the last item we were talking about. There's StarWarsCollector.com. Dan's find there. yeah, just to make everybody salivate and be very jealous. That's what he did find. So my apologies. I never shared that image on screen. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
that was a nice little haul,
Yeah,
if you can find it.
right.
So
For buy one get one 40% off. Yeah,
that's yeah.
that's the kind of stuff you hope for.
But I think that's a case of someone put all that stuff out just a little bit too early. I don't know whether they were expecting to put brand new product out to get 40% off, because that's just, yeah, that's a lost lead and then some. But yeah, he's a very lucky guy. Very, very good. Well done, Dan. Anyway, that was, yeah.
Let's see. We talked last week about those Rebels vehicles, the Target exclusive sitting stores. That includes the Phantom with Kanan and the TIE Advanced prototype that includes the Inquisitor. Those are now, here in the US, those are available at Target, like I said, but now they're starting to show up in the UK exclusive to Toys R Us, which is kind of a nice,
Yeah.
assist for folks over there.
Yep.
I saw that reported by our friends at Jedi News.
Yep. So $25 for TIE Advanced. Sorry, £25. My apologies.
Right, and they're 25. I think that's the same price here, $25 here in the U.S.
No, that's quite a bit of difference actually. It always sadly is 25 GBP to US dollars is come on Google, $40.
Oh,
so yeah, it's a little, yeah, it's same numerical looking price, but yeah, the exchange rate kind of whacks it up
right.
a little bit. So still not too bad priced for the UK. That's not a bad cost, but nice to see them even getting it. So that's good. That's good stuff.
So, like here in the U.S., the vehicles with the exclusive figure are priced the same as the non-exclusive vehicles that don't include the figure.
That's right.
I wonder if is that the same in the UK?
I don't know. Look, it's just a nature of the beast that the UK market always is a lot more than the US, but I can't imagine them getting the just the vehicles on their own. The fact that they're getting any, I would suggest they're getting just the vehicles and the figure selections. I don't see them getting just the vehicles on their own. But
right.
Who knows? Who knows? It's yeah, it might be a Toys R Us UK exclusive, and then other stores may get the other ones. But yeah, who knows? We'll find out soon enough.
Right. And let's see, wrapping up the Hasbro news here was, I saw earlier, just right before the show kind of went live here, is that our friends Dan over at Star Wars Collector had shared an image that the Black Series Darth Vader has been fixed.
Nice.
I know that we had talked about that on a previous show, and I shared a YouTube video with my experience with the Black Series Vader number 26.
Yep.
Where I felt the figure was flawed in the fact that the head would just fall off the thing if you would practically look at it wrong. It was just very poorly designed. Hasbro recognized that there was an actual problem with the figure, and I think it was actually revealed at New York Comic Con that they were aware of that problem and were hoping to get a new revised figure out there. And he shared just this evening, Dan from StarWarsCollector.com, a comparison image of the original figure from the Black Series line, which is the black and orange, versus the blue and black TIE Fighter pilot card, and you can see clearly that the peg has been redesigned to be a little bit taller, so you can seat that head down on there better.
I love it. It's like almost if you painted it kind of silver, be a little disco ball up there. It looks like a little rising disco ball from Darth's neck. Lovely. That's, I mean, maybe Hasbro were watching your video. That you never know. So there's a lot of people had that issue for sure. I think the neck, I certainly popped it off, and I think it was still shorter than the one that I got, but I didn't have quite as a severe application as you had. But yeah, it's definitely an issue. So nice to see they fixed it, but. Is it too little too late? Because a lot of people have bought this figure already, so...
Yeah.
We talk about running changes sometimes, but even like the, was it the 41st Elite Clone Trooper?
Right.
I've never really saw one of those. I think you get one or two of them before.
I have one on a foreign card, but they said...
hard to get.
Yeah, they said that it was supposed to come out in the U.S., but
That's what I'm saying. Never
I
did.
I don't think it ever did.
So, oh well. Nice to see them at least acknowledging it. So,
Yeah, so that will improve greatly, that figure. I mean, it was, like I said in my previous review, the previous times we were talking about it, it's a great figure. You know, you're looking at it, you can pose it in virtually any pose you want. But if you start to handle it and pick it up and try to pose it and different stuff, the head
yeah.
just falls right off. And if the head falls off, the cape falls off. It was just not a great design, but it looks. According to Dan, they've addressed it, and the head stays snapped on there, and you don't have to, be so careful with it.
Well, you've got visual proof there. I mean, there's a comparison. There's clearly been a
Right.
difference made. So,
And speaking of that, if people are looking for it, I think most of the new Vader figures are going to ship with that revised sculpt. But Dan posted on his page. I asked him what the date stamp was on the back of the card
mhm.
that he had, and I guess that would kind of be an indicator as far as what sculpt would be provided on that card. Um, the date stamp on the back of the card is 42161. So anything that has that number or later should have that revised sculpt.
You're gonna have a lot of people going out looking for that now. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
got him right here. It's got the little number there. So
Nice. Good to know.
let's see what else. I think that kind of wraps up the Hasbro stuff for this week. Moving on to some of the other kind of custom stuff or regular general news. Hasbro, or not Hasbro, Sideshow sent out notifications that the Wolfpack Clone Trooper was going to be processing their pre-orders next week on November 18th, so that should be shipping out soon. It's great looking figure to go along with Commander Wolf.
Definitely.
And if you're looking for a preview on that, I didn't share it here in the show notes, but I know that Dave over at Rebel Scum has this figure already and shared a gallery of images that he had taken of it. So, yeah, it looks pretty sweet.
Nice. Excellent.
Let's see. One more thing here. Entertainment Earth shared word that they have an exclusive bottle opener. The only reason I shared it is because I use my Millennium Falcon bottle opener. Like,
all you do, don't you? Actually, you do.
it's probably my most used collectible in my collection. I want Diamond Select to make a ghost of this, or a ghost bottle opener, but no, they have an exclusive with Entertainment Earth, and it's a land speeder, which I thought was kind of a cool design. Kind of fits in well with the aesthetic of the line.
I'm surprised they haven't done that before.
Yeah.
It fits a little bit better than some of the other ones, but these things are damn heavy.
Yeah.
They really are. But no, I'm laughing. I was just on this site tonight looking at some other stuff, and it's a shame we don't. And it's just a personal observation. It's a shame we don't get some of the exclusives we used to get, from my point of view, like the comic packs.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff, and it just seems to be a lot more things like silicone ice trays and key rings, and it's really. I'm looking forward to some of these more exclusives maybe next year when the movie comes out. Some really good exclusives, something you can really bite into. But open your beers with this one. Why not?
Yeah. Let's see what else. This article was shared from our friends at Jedi Defender. SH Figuarts had shared new images of the Vader and the Stormtrooper 6-inch figure.
Nice.
And I thought that really
shows a better.
We had seen only some con images before, I think.
That's right. They look much better. Now, this is the one with a funky cape, but yeah, very nice indeed. He's a good looking Vader. Very good looking Vader.
Yep, the Vader and the Stormtrooper.
Let me just check that link there. We've got a Stormtrooper link somewhere. Do we? Do we have a? Oh, we do. Sorry, my bad. there's an extra link in there. Let's just share that on screen for you. So just while that's loading, the Vader, you don't get to see that funky articulated cape, which has to be a first in these images. But
yeah, I think that was on a different one. Wasn't that the Revoltech Vader that had the funky cape?
I'm lost. I'm really lost.
There are so many different 6-inch scale figures now. It is hard to keep track.
That Stormy's looking good. Articulated toes, I like it. Very cool. Nicely done articulation in the seams and the joins, as Hasbro did. The facial, the helmet sculpt seems...
It's off a little bit. It's stylized.
It is definitely stylized. But look at this, a good-looking figure. And I mean, some of these, I've had some Iron Man, Revoltex, and Bandai figures in the past, and some of them can be fantastic. They can be really good. Sometimes loose joints, I've found. But you had a great experience with your Indiana Jones, you said.
Oh, yeah.
That was a Medicom, wasn't it? I think it was.
That was a Figma.
Figma. There you go. So many makes and manufacturers.
Yeah, it's just there are a ton of them to choose from.
Looking good, though. Looking good.
Let's see. The next one article here you had shared was the Marvel has. They're going all out on the variant covers for their for their Star Wars #1.
If I can get rid of this gigantic header here for 2 seconds, maybe we can see that it just does not seem to show. There we go. So yeah, Jackson's back. So he's just a character who will not die. But I really like this cover. I thought it was just very appropriate and well done. Nicely done there by the artist. So
yeah. So did they canonize Jackson there by having him on the cover of?
Well, I mean, it's a variant cover, so I would say I would say no, but John Cassidy and the guys have done a good job. I thought the art was really good for a start, but just nice humanist touch there that, there's a lot of people saying, bring back the EU, and I spoke to so many people. I must have spoken to 50 people this weekend about Star Wars, and a lot of them, at a con I was at, and a lot of them, my God, people love the EU. They loved the EU. And some people are really bitter about it not being back. So no wonder Jackson's at least on this cover, because there's a lot of very hardcore EU fans out there. So
I think Dan Curto was pretty happy about that. I think he's a big Jackson fan.
So I'd love to see all the variant covers for these things. It's nice to see them. A lot of the times you don't even get to see them.
Yeah.
The comic book covers are gone, so it's nice that at least paying a little bit more attention to these things and sharing them with a larger audience. But yeah, if you want to get that one, then it's a good one to get.
Yeah, there are a ton for this first issue for issue #1. So I think I don't have a link here, but I think Jedi News had a preliminary breakdown of how many different variant covers there were going to be. It's just insane. I thought the Star Wars one that was done by J.W. Rinsler was bad. I think there were, I don't know, almost. I think there were 6 or 7 different variant covers that I picked up. I'm not going to do that again.
I spoke to, again, diversing for 2 seconds, spoke to a dealer, how big comics are. I spoke to a dealer this weekend who sold one comic alone for $11,000 and then promptly saw it 5 seconds later on another dealer's table for $15,000. So there's a lot of money in comics, so pick your variants wisely. So
right.
Expensive business, comics, that's for sure.
Let's see, next one you had shared was that Santa Cruz skateboards. We had talked about those in a previous show. The new assortment of boards are out.
I just love the artwork on the actual card back, because you can call it a card back.
Yeah, because they're blister packed, just like figures.
So I just thought it was kind of cool just to see that again, that how it just endears and goes on forever. But they're out if you wanted to get them. But we talked about that before. But yeah, just a little tweet there from Santa Cruz. So.
Yeah, there's that Obi-Wan and that Yoda deck is the one I want to get, because I was going to get the Stormtrooper deck from last the previous series. And there's also the Emperor, and there are a couple different decks. I can't think of what the. I think there were two more. I know there's a Rancor pit
Wow.
deck that's out there, and there's one other one, I think.
That's a bit obscure, isn't it? It's like core
Yeah,
characters
it's
there and Ranker.
yeah,
Nice.
it was pretty cool. I saw.
Cool.
Let's see. We shared this one as well.
I
This
did
was
indeed.
we had talked about this on the last show. There were new samurai-based 6-inch figures coming out from Bandai.
With nipples.
Nipples.
I know. I just thought there was this as a storm in a teacup, this story in some ways, and yeah, we'd share these amazing-looking Bandai figures. Was it Bandai? I think it was Bandai. And these samurai stormtroopers, and I didn't. None of us picked up on it. None of us really cared, I think. But I just thought the way that Kodaku picked up on this and really just made this big story, which I called Nipplegate, because it seems to be just a lot of fuss. But surprisingly, really popular post. A lot of people were like, "I like these." A lot of people were like, "I don't like these," and it was really, yeah. So. We all have nipples, people, but
I think they're very. I think it's cool. I was. I saw this post on your site on Flyguy.net, and I'm like, I know this exists somewhere. This nipple sculpt on on armor somewhere. It first obviously, like everyone, our immediate thoughts go to Batman because of the
true.
suits, but it's not present in samurai armor, but it is present in Roman armor.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So there was just a lot of fuss about this, and I thought this is just out of hand. It's nipples, for goodness sake. But yeah, I mean, I guess the article just poked fun at just how all the stormtroopers do not have nipples on the armor, and quite frankly, why would you need to if you have armor? But yeah, it's a samurai, and it's a very limited edition figure, so it's surprising the smallest thing that just gets all of us fanboys and fangirls into a froth. But
right.
it was a humorous one to end the show on. So
let's see what else. The reason our show's a couple days late again, we last week you were. Which con were you at?
Last week, where was it? Last week was Ohio, which was a great con. I will post some pictures up. There's a lot of cool Star Wars people there that I met. So hello to anyone that I met. A few people that actually watched the Realm Recap. But yeah, just when we were there, I got to meet someone who you and I have known for. You've met him before as well, I believe, in Celebration. Scott from Tulsa, the legend that man is. What a gentleman that guy is. He was awesome. Really nice to meet him. So Scott from Tulsa, for those that don't know him, is one of the spot kind of hosts that occasionally come on, and he used to come on all the time for Star Wars Action News, and I love these segments. And what a great guy he is to meet. So we'll share some links here. But he also hosted and helped Team Dorkside relieve their tired feet and beers and great food at his restaurant, one of the restaurants he manages, which is Louis Bar and Grill in Tulsa. And the food was gorgeous. So a little plug for him and all of the nice people we met there, and his kids and his wife and everything. So the food is as good as it looks in that photograph. Trust me, it's one of those places that you actually, what you see in the photograph is what you get. So definitely.
Yeah, I was jealous when I saw that.
It was very nice indeed, but yeah, there was a few other things I just wanted to share. So we got to meet Scott, and we got to meet this little guy too. Lord Vader turned up, and we quickly doubled our efforts in the booth and made sure everything was there. That's Scott's son, Wyatt. Who was just fantastic. Such a nice guy. He's only 2.5. He was just the cutest little Darth Vader. And he was really nice and having a conversation with us all. So what a great little guy. And one other one we had was a great conversation with another guy who's called Dapper Darth Vader, if you didn't know. One of these many variations on troopers and figures and whatnot. It is there. I believe his name's Scott as well. What a great name. So hello to Dapper Darth Vader again. And that was it. So the only other thing was just to say thanks again to Scott from Tulsa, who is just, again, a gent and a scholar. Thank you, sir, for hosting us and looking after us and showing us at Tulsa. So took us out, and Tulsa's a happening place. Cool things happening in some of the parts of the city. So but a busy con, lots of Star Wars, and yeah, that's the cons done for us for the year.
It's good. Any did you get to walk around the
I did.
sales floor at all?
I did. One of the benefits is when you're there as a vendor, you get to go around before and after the shows,
Right.
and sadly, not a lot. It's quite a look. We're new to this thing. We've only done a few. We had a lot of stock this year. We had to clear out for the basically all the stuff that's coming at Christmas. And thought, great, let's go do a con. Did Nashville. Thought it was fantastic. It really worked well. So we tacked on Ohio and Tulsa. I think there was one more as well, but sadly, a lot of the stuff that's at cons, it's con prices. We're not. We're generally fairly, because we're an online store, but a lot of these guys are smaller vendors, so you do pay some higher prices. But saw some cool vintage collection. There was a couple of people selling some nice older vintage collection stuff. A little bit tatty, but a lot of people just with empty stalls and one vintage figure, hoping that someone would buy it. Not going to happen, guys. Saw some Star Wars Underoos. I should have taken a picture and sent it to Arnie. Never mind. So just like you did.
You did. Did you see that?
I did. Star Wars Underoos.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, it's been kind of like a long going gag that Arnie was talking about collecting boys' underwear because of the whole Star Wars Underoos from way back in the 80s and whatnot. And I was at my Target a couple days ago, and I was going. I always check. For this explicit purpose is to take a picture to send to Arnie, and Star Wars Rebels has boys, tidy whitey underwear, and I snapped a picture and sent it to him, and it was like, "Do you want these?" kind of deal. So.
Exactly.
Star Wars Rebels underwear for little boys do exist.
But so yeah, there was one stall there actually that they were selling a little bundle of underwear and some 1970s Star Wars shampoo, and literally an AT-AT walker, and it was like 5 or 6 items that really, don't know how these sold. But then again, if you can sell a comic for 11, someone can slap it up for 15. So.
Right.
Very interesting conventions. Very, very interesting to see the other side of things, but nothing really new. We're probably the only vendor that probably brought along new things, because again, these guys are more like 1s and 2s and rare and vintage things, and it was a great show. We had a lot of great people, so yeah, good fun. Tulsa's rocking.
Good deal. Let's see. That brings us to a little bit of the intermediate spot here, is that toy guide updates and reviews. As people have noticed, probably that I've been updating this week pretty regularly, more often than I usually do. Is that every day I've been posting a new toy guide update for the Star Wars Rebels line. Going back to the first figure was the Stormtrooper, then next was Ezra, the Inquisitor, Agent Callus, Kanan, and then yesterday was Chopper. So.
And it was good. I liked your the variant. Maybe I'm jumping ahead there, but the variant you posted for Ezra's jacket.
Yeah, I think I hadn't seen this anywhere else prior to me posting it, but I had started to do the toy guide update, and I pulled out the Ezra that came with the Jedi reveal pack that was exclusive to Toys R Us, and the graphic on the back of his jacket was completely different. So I did a little bit of cross-checking with Jedi Temple Archives and Star Wars Collector.com, and noticed that there are, in fact, different versions shipping with that Jedi reveal set. So the image that you're sharing there, the figure on the left shipped only in the Jedi reveal pack. The figure on the right shipped as a revision to that pack.
Wow.
So you could get both versions of that figure in the Jedi reveal pack that's exclusive to Toys R Us, and then the individual carded figure only has the corrected logo.
Yep.
So far.
It's quite a different logo. They're really,
People were saying, "Oh, maybe it's just a sloppy paint job," but it's not. It's a completely different paint application tampo kind of deal.
Yeah. Oh well, I'd hate to
Kind
be a
of neat.
variant collector really, because yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. Try and
Yeah.
track that down.
What's sad is you don't know what version you have really until you
True.
open it. Um, I think Dave Myatt from Jedi, or not Jedi, but Rebel Scum, and I were kind of sharing information back and forth as far as date stamps go. Um, you could check. He had shared my article a couple days ago, and I had posted what the date stamp was that had the original logo, the,
Hmm.
I would say, quote unquote wrong one. Uh, I shared that information in the comments section on his post. So if people are trying to track down the original one versus the corrected one, you'll be able to find it in that way.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I think that kind of wraps up everything. Did you have any reviews? You were probably pretty busy getting prepped for the Tulsa Comic Con, but
I haven't seen my own bed practically in the best part of 2 weeks. So hotel life, I'm through with that. So yeah, all good. Nothing yet, but I've got tons of stuff to review here, so plenty to catch up. A lot of sideshow again that I recorded and it didn't work, so we will definitely have a big pile of reviews coming soon.
let's see. That brings us to the TV, movie, book, and game news. The biggest news of this week was that we now have an official title for Episode VII.
Yeah.
I think people were kind of divided at first, but I think I don't know. I loved it right when I heard it, but it's called The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It's
I,
vague enough to say, make you think, what the hell does that mean? And then it prompts you to think, oh, you just, all these different possibilities kind of run through your mind if you haven't read any of the spoilers or
mhm.
um, any of that stuff. It's a very intriguing title, I think.
It is. I agree with you, and there's been a lot of online discussion about it. But I think like you, I was also more not disturbed, but a little bit like, why did you use that font more than the title? Um, yeah,
There was a method to their madness too, though, regarding that.
yes,
That font has been used
yes, yes, yes.
before for the Star Wars posters and other things. Um,
Let me just share that if I can.
I think one of the posts that I had shared, that
Mm-hmm.
the original, there was that birthday cake poster
Mm-hmm.
going back
Let me
on the first
see.
anniversary of Star Wars before it was called A New Hope. There was the birthday cake that had the Star Wars logo on it and had some action figures stacked around it. It said,
That's
I don't
right.
even remember exactly what it said, but it was that exact font,
Yep.
stylized
Well,
a little bit differently. Um, so I thought that was kind of cool. Um,
the
they
one
use
I
that font elsewhere as
just
well.
they have, and this is the one that I was just shared. If we hopefully can see that on screen, the He-Man
Right.
and the Masters of the Universe.
It's a very
The Force.
70s, 80s font,
It
which is
is.
called
It is.
serif Gothic. And
That's
being
right.
the graphic designer that I am, and I had to figure out what it was, and I was able to determine that. And ironically, um, I can't remember who it was.
Just have a look back. See if we can
Someone
find.
someone affiliated with the Macquarie um, website had posted almost the same thing within 30 minutes of me posting
About
of
the
me
font.
posting my information. So
Yeah, I can't find the post, but yeah, the happy birthday, first anniversary, Star Wars birthday cake. You're right. I think it was you that posted, or someone else did.
yeah, if you go to that post, I posted on Facebook. It's in one of the comments on the post on Facebook
Oh,
to
is
show
it
that
the comment?
poster.
Right. Okay, let's have a look. See if we can see it quickly. This is the title. Oh, here we go in the comment section. But yeah, it was. I knew. I thought, where have I seen that before? And true enough, no, I don't see it in there.
Scroll up.
Go up. And this one.
Yep, and then look at. There's some comments. There it is, somewhere in there.
Oh well, anyway, it's around. We'll see if it's around in the notes, maybe. But there we go. There we go. Finally hiding away. But the May the
So,
Force be with you.
yep,
So yeah.
that's the exact same font, just lowercase, or mixed case.
Well, look, I mean, definitely. I mean, the vintage, as we know, the vintage vibe is what it's all about. It's the recurring cast coming back.
Yep.
It's not a bad font, but I guess the question that was raised to me was, if the Force Awakens, what's it been doing for the last 20 odd years?
Right.
We ended on a high. The Empire was down, so I don't know.
It just opens up all these different possibilities. It's like
Exactly.
you can make a ton of movies just for what's happened in these,
Yeah.
30 years, or whatever's happened in the meantime.
Will we get
They're
another
not
set of prequels in time to
right.
come? I don't know. So
Sequel, prequels, and
prequel, yeah. We coined it
spin-off
for-
movies and
So
everything else.
But yeah, it was the He-Man one that threw me the most. When
Yeah.
I saw that first, I thought, "What? It's the He-Man font." But yeah, there you go. So maybe that means we're getting buff figures again. We're going to get big chesty figures, and please no, please no. So yes, but yeah, The Force Awakens. So I think it was generally well received on you. It was kind
Oh
of
yeah,
fairly,
I think so.
yeah.
And I think there was some discussion about, because they're officially dropping Episode VII as a way to promote
That's right.
the sequel, and that completely makes sense with how the original trilogy was advertised. As far as, you never saw Episode 4 or 5 or 6 in the logo treatments for the logo.
Yep.
Or for the movie titles. You only saw the episode whatever was in the crawl, and that completely makes sense with what they're doing for The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I think a lot of these studio executives, I know this is sounds condescending, but a lot of them tend to, you'll get episode 1, episode 2, 3 for whatever trilogy it may be or whatever it may be, but once they go beyond 3, they generally drop the numbers. They kind of, very few films, I think Friday the 13th part 7 or 8 and things like that. It tends to be something they don't want to promote, because people generally say, well, I haven't seen the other 6, I'm not going to see this. So that's their mentality. But yeah, let's just call it the Star Wars The Force Awakens, and we don't need to see Episode 7. We all know what it is anyway. So yeah.
And I think I made this point on Facebook or something too, was that when they reintroduced the prequel, starting with The Phantom Menace, and they titled it Episode 1, and that was very prominent in the logos and the advertising and whatnot. I think that was because they wanted to make sure people knew that this took place before A New Hope.
Sure.
Because
that makes sense.
They promoted that later, like with the special editions and the different DVD, VHS releases, as Episode 4, 5, 6. And I think a lot of that had to do with, wanting to make sure they could promote and advertise that as this happened before what we've known as the original trilogy. So
I agree.
They don't necessarily have to, because the original cast is returning, they're going to see that they're older. They're going to know that this happens after Return of the Jedi. So I don't think they have to rely so much on the Episode 7 portion of it.
I agree, but yeah, so generally, I mean, it's the other observations I've seen were I think it was you or someone had posted the observation about The Force Awakens, The Phantom Menace, A New Hope, the kind of the block of 3 generally for some of these films, but you could split and decide this any kind of or discuss this any which way you want, but that's what it is. It's The Force Awakens, so
yeah.
See what happens.
Let's see. Next was the you had shared on Twitter, and I think this had been floating around for a little bit, was the fact that there's a trailer, which is a teaser trailer out there, kind of ready and waiting for Episode 7.
Indeed, Jordan Mizon, who I follow on Twitter, and follows me on Twitter as well. But he posted that yeah, it's out, it's cut, and it's ready. It's almost ready, I believe. So when we talked about this as well not that long ago, when a good time may be to possibly see it. So we believe it's going to be literally in the next 6 weeks or up towards Christmas time at some point. with some movie. Did we mention it? Was there mention of the movie? No mention of the movie yet.
Yeah,
But,
there's speculation that it's coming out with the new Hunger Games movie, which
so
is the Mockingjay Part 1, I think is what it is.
yeah, so that would make sense. So
Yeah.
at least they put it with a good movie this time.
Right.
Sorry, Meet Joe Black. But yeah, so yeah, trailer is cut.
Let's see. Next up is the first spin-off movie is going to be filmed in Pinewood. I think this was shared in a different way prior, that Episode 8 was going to be filmed at Pinewood, but I think Variety or IGN was sharing that
They're on to the next one already.
and this is supposed to come out in 2016 around December, so it's not surprising that they would kind of release this information now. Is like they're going to have to start getting rolling on this pretty quickly, I would think.
Well, I mean, if you think about the way that they're doing this from the Marvel kind of it's all one universe philosophy.
Right.
I've obviously planned all these movies. They spent $4 billion buying this thing. There's a lot of people on this, a lot of project managers and planners, and they're going to be planning out all these movies. So if you're renting Pinewood and you've got a lot of actors and extras and hands and makeup artists, whatever, finishing one movie, send them all packing, and then hiring them all back again, it would make more sense to have some elements of continuity running through this. So I'd imagine that this is going to be the case for many, many years. So a lot of movies are coming. They've said there's a lot of movies they're making. So be awesome.
And I don't think they've even officially announced any of the other directors or any of that, for the spin-offs, and even like Episode 8 and 9. They're all they're all just focusing on Episode 7 now, obviously, but
we've got
it
Gary
seems
Whitta.
obvious that who's involved with the spin-off, the different spin-offs and the sequel. So
so Gary Whitta is the director of one other movie, and we have had confirmation. I can't remember what it was.
Was it Rian Johnson was one?
I think so. That's the only two I know of I can remember anyway. But nothing super official that we've seen on StarWars.com or. So yeah, lots more movies coming though. Fingers crossed.
So let's see. With that, we kind of move on a little bit to some of the new soundtracks and movies releases that are coming out. The Clone Wars soundtrack came out today, which is kind of a compilation of or of seasons 1 through 6.
I find this an odd release and an odd time to do it. I know this is the latest season of the Clone Wars is just coming out, but yeah, so were 1 to 5 not out before?
No, I don't. They've not.
Wow.
There haven't been any Clone Wars other than maybe the movie might have received a release, but yeah, this is all based on the series. And it's not. I don't think it's every track from every episode of the entire run. I think there are only 28 tracks for the entire season or series. So.
And there's a note there. Someone's a comment listed. I'm excited if they're part of vinyl edition of the only season 1 coming out soon. Vinyl's really coming back.
Yeah.
The whole Guardians of the Galaxy, the tape cassette version's coming back. Wow.
Yeah, so there was a vinyl release for the Transformers the movie. I don't know if everyone remembers that. That's coming out on vinyl.
That's crazy. Oh well.
You got the touch.
Dust your turntables off.
Right.
And yeah.
And then moving on to the next one here, Clone Wars again, season 6 Blu-ray comes out tomorrow.
Excellent.
So that has some extras, and so I don't know how much of it's going to be all that different from what was released on Netflix as far as extras.
I think there's one feature. I think it was Corey from the Wolfpack. I had a discussion with him about this, and or were we not there? I can't remember where it was. We had a discussion about this, but I almost wish StarWars.com had not released the storyboarding
Yeah,
for the because
kind of
now I'm kind of like
defeated the
I don't
purpose.
really want to spend $33 when I can watch it for
Yep.
on Netflix. I don't know. I think that hurt sales, or I think it will hurt sales, in my point of view. But well,
Yeah, it depends on the content, because the stuff that's on StarWars.com might be region specific, for viewing
uh,
online.
oh, that probably is. You're right. True, true, true. Yeah.
So getting it out on the DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, that might be
Sure.
available to a bigger market. So
Good point. But it's
I
out.
don't know.
So,
Let's see. And then the final thing he posted was the Star Wars Comic Con in Russia.
yeah, which I just this was Russia's first Comic Con. There you go for all those
It might
people
be
who
their last.
It may be. Well, I've just done three in a fortnight, so yeah, it's they're very good fun, but very tiring as well, as you well know.
Yep.
And a lot of us that probably watch this have been very spoiled with Celebration Europe, Celebration Japan, and all the Comic Cons and versions of this. Star Wars, the first ever Comic Con in Russia, but it looked to be a pretty slick affair. And Mary Franklin from Lucasfilm was there, and I just thought she did a really good job at covering some nice little backdrop, her thoughts on basically the con itself. But that's a huge screen that's up there.
Oh yeah.
It was a very impressive kind of halls and demonstration and all this stuff that gets set up. So this was beautiful looking, big high def screen there. Probably the one from Star Wars Celebration Europe that they had in the back of a van. They've hoisted up now up in the wall. It was a beautiful big HD screen that was there. But the Endor bunkers there at the back, that beautiful looking diorama at the back. But a massive big Rebels display there. So coming in 2005 to Russia to the Disney Channel over there. So yeah, just nice little look at the queues. Look at the queues for this thing.
Yeah, that looks cool.
So yeah, no wonder it was so busy being the first Comic Con. But there's a thirst for this stuff, Star Wars and all sorts of things all over the globe. So as a kind of international person traveling around, it's really nice for me to see these things spreading around because sometimes it's just well, for me now, very fortunately, all in the US, but it's nice when it goes around there. But they looked as if they did a really good job here on the displays and a lot of effort. And look at all this Ralph McQuarrie stuff here in the background and big, huge billboards. So, yeah, looked like a really slick affair. So I thought she did a great job covering the story and letting us see something that we probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. So, and I do not know what that is on this good bike. So, yeah, looks like something from a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know what that could have been, but you never know what's in the forest of Endor. So, and there's the team there. So, yeah, well done,
Cool.
Mary Franklin. So, good job.
So let's see. I think that wraps up the news for this week. That kind of moves us on to the new acquisitions and purchases. I've cut back extremely from my previous shows. I'm letting the funds rebuild from all my vintage purchases. I haven't picked up anything new since the MTV 7 that we talked about last week. But otherwise, I did pick up the Star Wars costumes book that did come. I ordered that online, and man, like you said last week, that is a fantastic book.
It really is. The work that's gone into it as well.
Yeah, you had talked about the Vader costume as far as the chest box and how crappy that thing looked, and man, you weren't kidding. I flipped through that, and man, it was just dirty, and
Yep.
the switches are all chunky, like you said, and
I
there's
know,
so
it's
many different.
terrible.
I'm surprised how many different versions there are.
Yeah, of course. Well, they needed so many, didn't they? I mean, all these
Right?
versions, stunt versions.
Yeah.
The one that also caught my eye was, I mean, he's on screen for a second, so there's not a lot of detail going into it, but 4LOM or 4LOM, if you're old school vintage like me, his eyeball mask, it's in the book here, it's kind of hard to show it, but it's this beautiful mosaic of glass almost. It's absolutely beautiful. But on the back of him, they never finished his back plate. So there's this big, huge piece of black with 2 screws in it because he never turned around in the movie.
Right.
So it's little things like that that you just wow. It's just it's a
Yeah,
beautiful book.
it's a fantastic book.
So yeah, you'll never see detail like this, I think, in a book on some of this stuff. I mean, the back canister for Bush's little air breather. Oh yeah, I could go on all night for this thing. It's a great book, it really is. So glad they did that. They should do more.
Let's see. That was it for my acquisitions this week. I was really pretty good. I didn't buy or receive anything. So, how about you?
Nope, nothing. A little bit of as a Scott from Tilsa has now christened it officially, Flego or fake Lego
Oh yeah.
was prevalent at the show. So I bought a little couple of little Marvel minifigures and some more Iron Man ones, and he collects them as well. So really good to talk on that. But yeah, just some little bits of Flego, and that was it.
All right.
Yeah.
I think with that, that wraps up this week's show. Again, we'd like to thank everyone that shared and viewed and posted our recent shows. Next week, I think we'll talk a little bit about obviously more uh, Rebels and Black Series product hitting shelves, hopefully. Um, I think probably before next week comes out, we'll get all of the Black Friday promotions will probably be leaked out there.
That's right.
I know Target has posted theirs.
Mm.
There's really nothing worth mentioning regarding Star
Wars.
Wars in it. There's a few things, but nothing collector geared, I would say. I'm still kind of anticipating seeing some. There was the Black Series 6-inch set that showed up in Mexico.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking that I don't know. I just have this feeling that's going to show up as an exclusive Black Series or not Black Series Black Friday promotion here in the US. It just seems so. I don't know. I don't know why they would just gear that only to Mexico.
So what were we talking about here? The lithograph
No,
for?
there was the 4-pack that included the Han,
Oh yes, yes,
the
yes.
Leia. Uh,
Yep.
I think there was a Greedo and the Boba Fett. It was like a 4-pack.
Which is a solid pack, but I mean these figures are fairly well saturated. That's
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, they it prior years, Walmart put out those 8-packs of basic figures. There was a lot of common figures in some of those assortments, but then a couple figures sprinkled in there that were harder to find.
yeah.
Maybe they're going to consider the Boba Fett in there the same.
I don't know. I mean, pretty much everybody's gearing up to do Black Friday stuff, and as you said, even Target's starting early. I've seen a few online stores start early. I know another store he'll be starting early as well. But it's no longer just Black Friday. It's
Right.
the 2 weeks prior, Cyber Monday, Cyber Tuesday. Oh my goodness, it goes on and on. So, but the true deals, as you said, nothing so far really.
Yep.
But time will tell.
Yep. So with that, we will end this week's show, and we will see you all again next week. Have a good one.